And I also give open assembly to the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is a slave to the messenger and seal upon the prophets. Peace be upon the prophet, upon his descendants, upon his companion, upon the righteous throughout the world, and peace be unto you. Assalamu alaikum. Dear beloved Muslim, we are forever thankful to Allah, highly glorified as He for once again allowing us to unite for Salat al-Jumuah, by which we come to seek His aid, to seek His guidance, to beg for His forgiveness, and most of all to ask for His mercy. He tells us that His mercy prevails everything. We begin everything, we begin each surah in the Quran except one, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, with Allah's name, the merciful benefactor, the merciful redeemer. He is the one that provides us with all the benefits we need to advance our life here on earth. In fact, the only thing Allah has given us, the two things Allah has given us, is life and opportunity. Is life and opportunity. He says in His illustrious book, in His perfect book of guidance, He clearly states to us, هو الذي خلق لكم ما في الأرض جميعا, that it is He who created for you everything in the earth. That's powerful, that's big. The last time we talked about power. And Allah says that those who, if He established them with power in the land, will make the salat and pay the zakat. He said He created everything. That He created everything in the earth for you. So He gave you life, and then upon giving you life, He gave you opportunity. Because everything in the creation has been placed under your will. If you understand your power in His creation, when He said He made man the manager, the Khalifa, He made man, the human being, the ruler in the earth. And by virtue of the fact He gave you the rule in the earth, you're the only being that can manipulate all this creation. Every other being in existence, all the animals operate strictly off instinct. The human being operates off an abundance of potential, memory, mind power, feeling, intuition. So He said He created everything for you. That's a great creator. And then you and I is in the greatest position as being His most exalted on earth. So Allah gave us two things. He gave us life and He gave us opportunity. The verse says, it is He who created for you everything that's on the earth. That we have the capacity to manipulate, to utilize, to bring into existence that which never existed before. That's a powerful being. He gave you life, and then He gave you opportunity. I remember reading when Imam A.K. Muhammad said that Allah made you a Muslim and then placed you in a Muslim. A little something for you to think about. He made you a Muslim submitting your will to Him, and then He made everything in this entire creation to submit to your power. That's a powerful position to be in. He made you a Muslim and then placed you in a Muslim. See, this earth is a Muslim. This earth submits to you. Because Allah said He has rendered everything in the creation to render utility to the human being. And the word is that secular. And secular means that it has useful benefit. All of this creation has purpose. It has been given an assignment, just like that big ball of fire in the sky called sun. It has an assignment. And man has been able to do so much with sunlight. It's almost unimaginable. what the human being has not been able to do with sunlight. How now they're harnessing solar energy. The entire office, there's no electricity. The entire office, the entire building is structured in such a way that the windows out of the panel generate and store electrical power that can light up your entire house. Solar, here's the life. So he said Allah made you a Muslim, submitting your will to him, and then placed you in a Muslim. That the entire creation has been laid out to serve man and woman to the highest level. Every other creature benefits, but none can maximize the creation greater than you and I. So we talked last time in that verse where Allah says, those who, if we establish them with power in the land. So you got to understand, Allah wants you to have power. You can't be his servant and manifest weakness. If you have the Quran, you have the life of Muhammad the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, we're supposed to have power. We look around and we're in awe over everybody else. Oh, look what they're doing. Look at the big building. Look at the creation they have. Look at the cars they have. Look at the building. Look at the school. We admire other people. But Allah said, those who, if we establish them with power in the land, he wants you to have power. How you going to be the best evolved for humanity and you waiting for everybody else to serve you? If you're the best evolved for humanity, you're supposed to be leading the world in terms of what the human being can do. That you're supposed to be working to maximize your ability. That's why when we hear this call or we hear Hayya ala al-Falah, you have to maximize and cultivate what Allah put in your body. Your creative ability, your intelligence, your feelings, your ingenuity, innovation, all of these skills and resources Allah put in you, you're supposed to be advancing the world. The world is supposed to be waiting for your lead. If Allah says that you are ukuri jali nas, that you are the best group of people brought out to serve all people. That's what Allah says about you and I. You've been brought out. You've been brought out of pain. You've been brought out of bitterness. You've been brought out of dysfunctionality. You've been brought out of being misinformed and misguided. But Allah says that you are this ummah, this model society, the best group showing the highest expression of humanism, the highest expression of what it really means to be a human being. See, most people lost that. They lost what it means to be human. They lost what it means to be sensitive and caring. There's so much cold and callous in the world. Insensitivity. So much of ignorance. And we start talking about this jahili or jahal. We don't just mean these people are uninformed, but these people are ignorant of the guidance of Allah. They're ignorant of that. And because they're ignorant of the guidance of Allah, you see so much strange behavior. I remember last week I saw when President Obama was in Africa, he was talking about these are some strange times. You look around, you see these are some strange times. And these strange times are a manifestation of the strange behavior. That's why Imam Muhammad said we have to look at the strange behavior of our group spirit that keep us unestablished as a people. So Allah said he wants you to have power. And when you have power, you can influence and impact the world. When you have no power, you can't have no impact. You talking philosophize all day long and romanticize of what happened yesterday all day long. And what they did yesterday in the glory time of Islam, but how has that impacted your life in 2018? So I want to work to use myself up. I want to work to develop my skills, but I know it is a process. We start talking about this filat, this prosperity. Prosperity is related to time. You work today for tomorrow. You plant the seed, but the harvest is later. You have to put the work in. That's why Allah says, Hayya ala filat. Bring the right spirit, but it takes time. Because the filat, the prosperity, is the end result of the work the farmer put in. The falahim is the farmer that goes out and tills the soil and get the soil ready to receive the seed. And over time, when the seed get the nutrients, when the seed get, when it get the rain, when it get the soil that's fertilized and moist, it begins to pull in over time the richness of the mineral in that earth that feeds its life and allow it to have a breakthrough. Strange times and strange behavior. But Allah said, you and I, we supposed to be the shaheed, we supposed to be the witness bearers of decency, of morality, of culture and refinement, of prosperity, of wealth. We're supposed to be the witness bearers of prosperity. So that you can make your contribution to life. You can make your contribution to the masjid so the masjid is strong enough to do its work. Masjid can't serve society if it's weakened, is always looking for a couple dollars. People are afraid to give because they think if they give, they'll be without. If Allah told you to give, He know that when you give, you trust in Him. He said He'll multiply your giving. You understand what that means? Don't you know the value of zakat? Now you have to understand if zakat is one of the 5 pillars, it's vital for your life. It forms the very foundation of the prosperity we're talking about. Because in order to really prosper, you have to give some things up. You know the verse where it says that Ibrahim says, surely my prayers, my life, my sacrifice, and my death. So you got to give some things up. If you're doing the work of Allah, you have to be willing to let it go. And when you give it back, He's going to multiply what you give. And if He made zakat a part of your belief, that means you're convinced of something. How can I give and I'm following the process of Allah and I'm going to be without? That is part of your foundation. Muhammad the Prophet, peace be upon him, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said that Buni al-Islam, and it comes that al-Islam is built on 5 essentials. And part of those essentials is that you're giving. Because when you give, you allow the energy and the life to circulate. And then when you give, you rid yourself of stinginess. When you give, you rid yourself of smallness. From the very beginning, Allah said He created you and placed all of this for you. Everything in the earth. You do not live in the world of lack. You understand that? You live in a world of supreme abundance. That's why we shouldn't be comfortable finding poor and broke Muslims. That people have become so comfortable with other people giving them. The welfare game is big. So now they took the productive earth. That's why you have to be careful when you start making people dependent on Social Security, on welfare, on city program. When you make these people so dependent, you take the productive urge out of them. We're taught that we're supposed to go out there and produce. That's why Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that no descendant of Adam can enjoy a better meal than the one they earn with their own hands. But it doesn't exclude us from giving those who need. We give enough to build a person up, to give them a little confidence, to give them a little strength to say, I can move forward, but not to create dependence. So zakat is part of the very foundation of your life. Because zakat itself means to purify. It means to increase, and it means to grow. So the first part is that you have to give to remove stinginess and smallness and miserliness from you. Giving with the idea that I'm going to be lacking, I'm going to be broke when I give them, I'm not going to have much to live on. You know why they call money currency? They call money currency because it's flowing all over the place. And all you have to do is position yourself in such a way where you can get some. And I know many people in our Islam have been conditioned where you shouldn't want much of money. And that's what keeps you weak. That's why you have no power in a society. The verse says, and those who, if we establish them with power, Allah wants you to have power. You can't build no masjid. You can't put no Quran. You will do nothing without what they call people. There's no currency flowing to you. You're weak and waiting for other people to do for you that which you can do for yourself. Allah said He created everything in creation for you. That means you got access. Most people have never been told all of this has been created for you. That's big right there. If you understand that Allah said He did this for you. Financially, we shouldn't be weak enough. There's one verse in the Quran where Allah says, that the human being gets nothing but what he strives for. So you're supposed to get it. But your getting is in your striving. If you don't strive and put the work in, you don't get nothing in return. Now let me tell you one thing. Everything we about doing this work for Allah in His path is about rendering a service. It's about helping other human beings. That's why the description of the believers is those who believe and do good deeds. It's not just enough to have the belief, but the belief has to be supported by the works you do beyond your own personal concerns. See, that's what zakat means. Zakat means that I'm moving beyond myself. I'm not self-absorbed. Zakat means I'm concerned about another person's world. I empathize, I feel, and I put myself in their position. I walk in their shoes. I wonder how it feels to be like that. And that empathy moves you to give to another human being. So you come out of your own little world where you're self-consumed by your own interests. So zakat means I'm going beyond self and I'm caring for somebody else. You know, there's a picture of this giving and caring. You know the story? In the process of the development of Al-Islam, there were opposition, there were forces working to drive the capacity or the interest to grow Islam, Al-Islam, to grow the Islamic world. And people had to migrate. They were oppressed. They were being subjected to all kinds of cruelty. They had to migrate. They had to make the migration. They had to make the movement from one state to another. And they were called those who made the sacrifice, the muhajir. They made the migration from one place to another. And when they made that migration, it's the model of a brotherhood, of a sisterhood. When they made that migration, the Ansars were there waiting to receive them. You know what Ansars about? Ansar mean the helpers. And those brothers were willing to give, those who made the sacrifice, the migration, they were willing to give half of everything they had. I want to help you. You made the sacrifice. You without. Here's half of what I, here's half of my resources. Here's half of my supplies. Here's part of my home. I'm willing to give to those who made the sacrifice. That's why sacrifice is so important, because you are giving up. See, when you give up, Allah will give you. And they made the sacrifice. And when they made the migration and reached their destination, there were a group of loving believers who said, we're willing to give you what we have to further your cause. Because you made the sacrifice. The Ansar. And that was the brotherhood that was created. And the Muhajirs said, no. Just it's all right, we appreciate that. But show us the marketplace. Show us where the place people are engaged in buying, and show us the land, and we can go and produce for ourselves. We don't want to create a state of dependency. Show us the possibility of what we can do in that location. One was willing to give, and the other said, no. We want to do it for ourselves. So that's powerful. That's how you grow a world of those who are willing to give, but then those who say, no, we have to do for ourselves to not create a state of dependency. So Ansar is a big concept in the Quran. Don't you know the Masjid itself is Baitul Nasr? If you understand what Baitul Nasr is a house of help. Isn't that what the Masjid is supposed to be? The Masjid is supposed to be the place where people can be aided and supported to grow themselves up, supported enough to get them on their feet, not to create dependency, but enough to give them the confidence that, yes, you can move forward. Because people come to the Masjid, Baitul Nasr, they come to the Masjid, I'm talking about in the real sense, just like they go to the hospital. They go to the hospital because they want to feel better. They can come and they can hear the Quran as lived out in the life of Muhammad the Prophet that can build them up to say, I can do better. What human being in their sane mind don't want to do better? Now, if you don't want to do better, then we have to work with you on another level. We have to get you to get a little bigger in your thinking about your own life. To get out of smallness. That's why we begin the call of the Adhan with what? Allahu Akbar. We begin that call with greatness and bigness. And if you are submitting to the greatest force in life, there's nowhere in the world you can settle for smallness. Because if you submit your will to the greatest, you have to become great. And you can't be great if you're comfortable in being small. That's why we talked before. Allah said He's Rabb. He's the one who builds you up from stage to stage. He has no interest in you being small. He's Rabbil Alameen. He's the evolver to take you from smallness to bigness, from weakness to strength, from powerlessness to power. That's what Rabb would do in your life. So we can become dissatisfied with smallness. The verse in the Quran where Allah says, إِذَا جَاءَ نَصْرُ اللَّهِ فَ and when comes the help of Allah and the opening. So we talking about answer, we talking about help. Allah says, and when comes the help? When Allah help come to you, doors open up for you. And when comes the help of Allah, you hear the word fat like Fatiha, when comes the help of Allah and the victory. And when comes the help of Allah and the opening. The same word for al-Fatiha, the same word that's used for muftahah, it is a key that unlocks. I told you from the very beginning, Allah created you, then He gave you opportunity. And when we really start doing the work of Allah, and He sent His aid to us, all kinds of doors open up for us. That's why when a person, they achieve something in society, what do they give them? They give them the key to the city. They say, because of what you've done, the doors of this city are open to you. And when comes the help of Allah and the opening, He'll open up doors for you. If you aid His cause, because He said, if you will aid the cause of Allah, He will aid you and plant your foothold firm. He's going to give you stability. We say it from the very premise, and those who, if we establish them with power in the land, power. We got to get power. We can't do this work without power. Don't you know that when Muhammad the Prophet ﷺ began his work, Allah in His wisdom made money not an issue. The Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, his best friend, his companion, Abu Bakr, money. In fact, the woman he married, Lady Khadijah, money, not brokenness. So you can't advance no cause with brokenness. You can't advance no cause if the people don't have the wherewithal to get what they need to advance it. So Allah said this mission He put Muhammad the Prophet on is big, so money can't be an issue. When finances become an issue, it does something to your spirit because you can't even get what you need to move forward. Can't get vehicles, can't get gas, you're lacking food, you're low on food. You need resources. So Allah surrounded Prophet Muhammad ﷺ with what he would need to advance the cause. So He gave him Abu Bakr, He gave him Lady Khadijah. Money was there to do the work. If we're going to do this work to advance this cause to serve humanity, we have to be willing to earn and then give. When you earn, you give, you keep your dignity, and when you give, Allah said He will multiply what you give. That's why He gives you the picture of the corn and the different ears of the corn. And when you make the deposit of the seed in the earth, it multiplies. And when you're willing to give up, that's why I said, truly, my prayer, my sacrifice, my life, and my death. See, what you're willing to give up, or Allah will increase the flow into your life. And when comes the help of Allah and the victory? رَبَّنَا آتِنَا فِي الدُّنْيَا حَسَنَةً وَفِي الْآخِرَةِ حَسَنَةً وَقِنَا عَذَابَ النَّارِ. Assalamu alaikum. So the Quran provides us with the guidance we need to make it work. When you look in the Quran, you will see when Allah talks about guidance, it is paramount, it is essential for growth. He even talks about the Quran of Muhammad the Prophet, didn't we find you wandering? You can't advance your life if you move around in the darkness, whether it's spiritual darkness, financial darkness, mental darkness. You need guidance. And the guidance doesn't just mean that you're uninformed, but most people, they're ignorant of the guidance of Allah. They have a nature, they're decent people, they're caring people, but they don't have the guidance of God. They don't have the guidance of Allah. And because they don't have the guidance of Allah in their lives, they're not getting the most from themselves. When you follow the path Allah laid out for you, you're going to get the most from life. Because that is where the life really unfolds, on His path. That's why it says, oh, you believe, bow down, worship Allah, and do good that you may prosper. See, He gives you the sequence Because if you bow down to anything else, it robs you of your life. If you bow down to anything else, you go into captivity. Oh, you believe. Last time I spoke with you about all of these calls. It said, we heard the call of one calling us to Iman. See, there's all kind of calls in the world. The call to death, the call to violence, the call to drugs, the call to gangs, the call to ignorance. People pride themselves in ignorance. There's all kind of calls. But he said, and we heard the call of one calling us to faith, and we believe. Why? Because the faith is important, because that's what gives you the structure and the organization and the strength in your life. Without Iman is weakness. Because the word Iman doesn't just mean to know, but it means that you are secured in what you know. That's why in Surah Al-Baqarah it said, and this city made secure. And to him will be held balance. And this city, it wasn't secure before. Because Shaitan is calling you from your power. I don't care how much faith you think you have, Shaitan is still whispering to you. Because as you read the Quran, where does Shaitan say he's going to stay? He didn't say he was staying on the crooked path. Shaitan said he is staying on the straight path. And he said, come before you, in front of you, from your right and your left. Everywhere you turn, there are those influences, there are those calls working to pull you from the guidance of Allah. So when you get on that path, know that you still got to do work. Be conscious that you have to still be aware that your enemy is in your midst 24/7. And Allah makes it real clear that you have an enemy. And your enemy mission is to defeat you. I hope you understand what I'm saying. Your enemy's mission is to defeat you. The mission of your enemy is to weaken you. The verse says, those who, if we establish them with power in the land, your enemy wants you to have no power. Wants you to rely on him to teach you. Wants you to rely on his economy. Your enemy wants to continue to create a level of social dependency. That as a group where he said, and he made you the best evolved, see this community, then you still be socially dependent upon somebody else to do for you that what you can do for yourself. Because if we don't have no schools, then we're still depending on somebody else to keep us informed. And then you say that the children are not being properly educated. Well, because you have no power. Not only do you have no power, you have no interest. No sensitivity. And the part of the mission of the devil is to make you lose the sensitivities of doing what's necessary to build your world. So you become cold, numb, and distant. I live in my world, you live in your world, I got mine, you get yours the best way you know how. But Muhammad the Prophet said, that I am a flesh and blood, sensitive human being just like you. And this word bashir is from the same word for skin. It's dermal. You know, one thing about the skin is whatever you put on the skin, that skin will respond. If you put some cold, it get your shock, the skin will respond. If you put some hot, the skin will respond. Because the skin is responsive. That's how Allah created a human being. A responsive, sensitive human being who has social sensitivity. That you feel, as when we talked from the very beginning about this as a cat, that we feel for another human being. To get us back into this ideal of humanism. caring, loving, forgiving, making the necessary sacrifice to build the life that reflects what it means to be a servant of Allah. How to glorify Him. You look around the society, you see they're lacking guidance, they're lacking the who. That's why we say this is Masjid Al Hadi. Masjid Al Hadi will reflect the guidance for a better life. We get on this path, we live on this path, we're constantly moving for a better life. I was explaining something to a brother, he asked me, well, why now? Why now? Because there's always room for improvement. There's no particular reason. You're growing, that's why. You would ask me, why is there change? Well, you're supposed to grow. That's why every day you talk about rub. He's developing you constantly. Even if you are 90 years old, God is still developing something in your body. Your patience. You're listening to God. Yes, Allah is the constant evolve. It doesn't stop. So social sensitivity. That we care enough. But we have to give enough so we can be strong enough to serve the society. Build them up, to build the world up. And I'm going to leave you on this note about this mother. We talk about Ummah, and the mother has to be strong enough and caring to develop and protect that life. See, that's what Ummah is protecting the life. Developing, growing, protecting, nurturing the life, giving the life what it needs to sustain itself. Giving the love, the sensitivity, the care, the sacrifice, putting all that into that child so the child is strong enough to go into the world and make its contribution to the world. So the mother got to make sure what she put in the body, she has to be conscious of what she puts in her body, and she put the secret that weakens the constitution of that child. That's why mother, Allah made it so wise, He made mother connected to community. Because the role of the community is just like that of a mother. And the mother has to be very careful what she pours into that child. Because what she pours into that child will determine how that child functions in the world. And when you're in the musala, when you're in part of an ummah, we have to be very careful about what you get, because what you get is going to have to develop you. Are you strong enough to go out there and make your contribution just like that child will make his contribution to the world? Yeah. So the nutrients are important. So Allah said, those who we establish them with power in the land will make the salat, will pay the zakat, will enjoy what's right, and will forbid what's wrong. Allah wants us to have power. And part of that power is we have to have the financial power. So we don't need to hear the Masjid say, please don't forget to give. Give because you know it's the right thing to do. Give because you know the more you give, the stronger the place you give going to be to do its work. So give. I remember I heard the shrine of the commercial. The commercial said, and then I seen one there, magnet, said, and I sent my love to the rescue. You gotta send your love to the rescue. You gotta send your caringness to the rescue. And the rescue means there's someone who needs help. So you send your resources to the rescue to aid those who need the assistance that you can provide. Whatever that you for doing hasanati, but for akhirati hasanat, what you can other more peace be unto you. Assalamu alaikum.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. Hayya ala salah, hayya ala falah.